William Moss, and today I'm at Hatcher Garden and Woodland Preserve, and we're talking about containers. Containers are a great thing for small space gardeners. They work just about anywhere. No yard, no problem. Even if you happen to be in a city, or let's say you have an apartment with just a little deck or a balcony, you can still grow beautiful plants in containers. You want to make sure you start with a good container and don't use dirt. You need to use a nice potting soil. And also, when you fill the pot up, you never want to go all the way to the top. You want to make sure that you keep it at about 3-4 inches of height to use for that. You want to make sure that you still have some space to work with. Now, when you're putting your containers together, you want to choose plants that not only look good in flower, but also look good in foliage. You see, we have a great collection to choose from up here. I haven't decided what this container is going to look like yet, so we'll experiment around. Maybe a couple of these in the back, some trailers. I'll put a couple of those up here just to kind of show. Basically, here's what you're trying to do. Meat, vegetable, starch. So basically, the meat is like the focal point, what you're trying to do. And then the vegetable would be the filler, the plant that kind of covers up a lot of space. And then finally, you would have the starch, the potato or whatever will be on the side to kind of hang over the side. In this pot, we've got our meat, or our focal point is going to be a bell pepper plant. It's going to come up and grow and be the focal point. It'll be the tallest plant in here. And on the side, we've got 2 fountain grasses, which are going to fill this container up and really give it a nice appearance. And then finally, we have this Coleus that's going to weep over the sides a bit. To get my stamp of approval, that's what you got to have for your containers. And because I've chosen this plant for foliage, it's going to look good now all through summer and up to frost. And that's what we're trying to do back here. So we've got a couple of plants that are going to fill the space, and now we've got some trailing plants. Now we need some sort of focal point in the middle here. And I love to add edibles to pots, so maybe we'll choose a tomato to place in the center. I've changed my mind. I don't want to use this. Something you can do when you're planting, especially in the summertime, because you have so many choices. You can change your mind and move things around. I want something with a little bit more zazz to it, so maybe have this as our focal point. It's Isrini, and we'll add some pentas, not only for color, but for butterflies. Butterflies just love this plant. And then maybe we'll use a different trailer, maybe something edible. We'll plant the squash right there on the side. And I got a little bit more space in the back here, so I've got enough space for a chili pepper. Not quite for a bell, but I'll tuck this chili pepper in on the side here. So it's gonna fit in with the pentas. So we still have our 3 elements: the centerpiece, the focal point, the spreaders, and then we have the trailer coming out the side. And if you can even see, we've got some squash already. Once again, if you're going to take the time to plant a container, add something edible to it, because it just makes it more useful for you. Now let's go ahead and plant them up. We're going to start with the Isrini. Pop this guy out. Now we've got to make a little hole. We don't want to go too deep, because I want to make sure that the plant gets everything that it needs and isn't covered up. Now we'll bust the roots up as we're putting them in. We just don't want the roots to grow in a circle. Next we'll do the pentas. Add in the chili pepper. Now the squash has to be the most delicate process of all. We want to just sit him down. I managed to do that without knocking off a squash. All right, and so it's planted, but not completely done. I still got to fill in with soil. Whenever I'm growing herbs or vegetables, I try to keep everything, if I can, organic. That way I know that it has the most nutrients, the most vitamins, and the fewest toxins. Plant it. You tap him down. And now look at that. Now you can imagine this in about a month under this hot summer sun. You're going to have flowers all around this. The color of the stems of the Isrini picks up on the color of the flowers of the pentas. And then you're going to have this yellow from the squash picking up on the variegation in the Isrini. And finally, you're going to have the chili peppers in the back for people like me who like it spicy and good. All right, so this one is done.